In the last part, we see Siloy in jail and he spends 2 years there. After getting out of jail, he goes to Itaewon and accidentally meets Suhua. Then, after telling her he will start preparing for opening his shops, he leaves again. And comes again after 7 years and starts building his restaurant. Life is a series of choices. Making choices based on your values. Here, we see a 19-year-old girl standing beside the bridge looking at sunset. She tosses a coin into air. And then thinks if it comes heads, she will do what her mom wants. But if it comes to tails, then she would do as she likes. She fails to catch the coin. Seeing coin getting drowning, she thinks what she really wants to do. She takes the tails decision. We hear some news of actress Miso's. She comes outside in disguise, as she thinks people might start to recognize her. She gets shocked that it wasn't her that people asked to take a photo with. It was the girl beside the bridge. Her name is Iseo Cho. She is quite popular on Instagram with 760K followers. Last year, she came to Korea from New York. She is a girl of endless talents. On top of that IQ of 162 makes her a genius also. The guy beside her thinks if there was an angel, it would have this kind of face. Suddenly, a woman enters the classroom and starts to ask loudly about who is Iseo. After finding her, that women show a post on Facebook asking if she is the one who uploaded that. It was a post about that woman's daughter bullying other kids because her mother is a director's wife. Iseo answers her, saying yes. Everyone was astonished seeing Iseo getting slap on her angel-like face. As that woman starts bossing, we see Iseo signaling boy beside her who is Gyunso. Yes. Getting hit and scolding from that woman. It was all her plans. It seems she did this to record all that. Seeing that director's wife gets shocked and asks what they are doing. She answers that it isn't slander. Rather, all she is uploading are facts. Later, that woman blames Iseo for setting her up. But after hearing her some, she stops. As Iseo starts telling originally, she was going to end it like this. She gives a creepy smile and tells her now she will upload this video when her daughter starts going to university. Even when she starts her job, Iseo will send it to that workplace as well. She then will send it to the parents of her husband after her marriage. She blames the director's wife that her daughter is going to suffer even after growing up because of her. As that woman tries to slap Iseo another time, she herself gets slapped in return by Iseo. The head teacher asks her if she has lost her mind doing something like that. She asks why it is wrong. Is it because that woman was an adult, or because she was the wife of the director? She asks again, was she supposed to stay quiet and let that woman beat her since it will be annoying for him to have the director in his case? Hearing that, teacher gets very angry. After that, Iseo homeroom teacher calms him down and tells him she will talk to her. She tells Iseo to go back to class. Iseo starts leaving while we see head teacher shouting her with full anger as she leaves. Another male teacher comes and says to endure as she is graduating soon, and tells there is no benefit in disciplining her as every time she gives a dirty look in return. In the hallway, Gunso asks if she got expelled. After knowing she didn't get expelled, he advises her to be careful next time she picks a fight. She tells him it would have been worse for them if they had made a big deal about it. Suddenly, Her homeroom teacher calls her from back. She asks if it still hurts on her cheek. Iseo asks if she has anything to say. The teacher tells that she saw the bullying post, thus she asks why she didn't tell her, as she could have done something knowing about it. Now, she is ashamed even to look at her. Iseo tells that she thought the teacher would also get burned. Hearing that, she tells Iseo not to worry about those and inform her first if this ever happens again. But Iseo tells how she could trust her as she is full of shits. Because she knows all those are acts of her. It's just that she just doesn't want to cause ruckus with the director's daughter, even though she knew all that. And now appearing in front of her and saying all that, she just wants to ease her guilty conscience as a teacher. Iseo thinks all this is her hypocrisy of her. Seeing Iseo, Gunso stops her. Then he consoles teacher while it makes Iseo angry. While leaving, she suddenly throws her slipper on Junso's head. She then starts running after calling him an asshole. Later, we see the teacher asks Junso why he hangs out with a girl like that, but we don't know how he replied. It doesn't take long for them to reconcile. She asks Geunso where he is going. He tells him he is meeting a friend in a club of Itaewon. Iseo asks to tag along, but he says she can't, as it's guys only for tonight. She then asks if he is trying to pick up some girls and get their number with his friends. She then asks how he got a bike. He tells his brother gave it to him. He couldn't refuse her anymore. While blushing, he told her to hold him. Upon holding, he gets more nervous. In a meeting of Jenga company, a man says that the sales of Jenga street stalls in Itaewon have been in the red for the past quarter. The reason that the Hongdae and Jeondae branches are doing so well is because they are known as a place where single guys and girls meet up. Yes, it's Gyunwon. Then he says that he devised a plan to make it a situation like Hongdae and Jeondae, which they are calling a hunting system. After Gyunwon's father reaction, Gyunwon starts showing his preparation while he explains. Hearing his explanation, members in the meeting start thinking. Then the chairman asks manager, about this plan. Who is Suhua? She says that she is against it because if they try to force a hunting system in Itaewon, they might lose their reputation. While Gyunwon tells this is an old-fashioned way of thinking, Suhua then tells this system doesn't suit Itaewon. Even though Gyunwon gets angry listening to this, his father, the chairman, supports Suhua's thinking. Upon Gyunwon opposing his father asks some basic business statistics in Itaewon. He fails to answer that. Chairman then explains the people frequenting there most likely have stable jobs with decent salaries and time to eat out often, which generally falls into the late 20s to late 30s category. Then he asks Gyunwon how he could think of applying the hunting system for those people. He then tears his document in front of his eyes. He tells they need to win by expanding essential elements like atmosphere, quality that fits price, not using trash tactics. After Gunwon's humiliation, Chairman make Manager O in charge of Itaewon branch. Gunwon then asks for the Yongsan branch. Everyone in the meeting room gets shocked. The chairman says sales are plummeting because of him as he can't manage business properly. Later, finding Suhua alone, Gunwon asks Suhua how dare she do something like this with him. She tells this plan was bound to be rejected, and she just took the opportunity. He then tells her not to get ahead of herself as he tells after his father he is going to be the chairman. And it would be bad if she starts developing bad impressions in front of future chairmen. Then, in reply, she asks him if he is totally sure about this. After hearing that, he remembers his father saying about his alternative. But he has already made some preparation to get rid of it. He then tells her that he is sure with a creepy smile. It seems like he already planned something for his brother. Iseo shouts, telling Gunso if he doesn't seeing speed limit. Unfortunately, he suddenly sees that brakes stopped working. He gets immediately that his brother is the one who did this. He tries his best to slow down the bike, but still it was still going in 40 kilometers per hour. Even though there are many pedestrians in front of him, he can't stop. A man wearing costume, though, saved the guy on their way. But bike also starts to lose control. And suddenly, Iseo gets thrown out by the impact of momentum. But that man wearing costume saves her. And that man is our Sailoi. That is how Sailoi and Iseo meet for the first time. When the bike stops, Junso comes running to Iseo and asks if she is okay. But after seeing Junso, Iseo slaps him in the face because she nearly died because of him. Then Sailoi gets up and tells he should be the one saying that, and he also nearly died. After realizing that Junso started apologizing, Junso then asks if he is all right. Sailoi says, how could he be okay after this? And advise them not drive something dangerous like motorcycle. At this, Iseo reacts a little. Junso apologizes again and tells Sailoi to go to the hospital and asks if he should call 911 for him. He stands up and says he is okay, and it's not like he is hurt anywhere, and then he apologizes for swearing at them before. But he falls again before completing his speech. Seeing this, Junso starts shouting in concern. Junso says that Sailoi doesn't seem to have any external injuries or brain damage. Iseo then asks the reason he is losing consciousness. The doctor answers it's just fatigue from overworking. He tells to Iseo. After waking up, Sailoi gets up in a rush. Junso asks if he is really okay. Sailoi wanted to know if he fainted. Junso answers with yes and tells that it was because of overworking. Sailoi looks around and does not see his costume. He asks where it is. Junso replies, it was badly ripped, and as they were in a hurry to get him ambulance, they didn't care about it much and threw it away. Listening that, Sailoi gets angry and starts saying that they just brought it recently as well as it was expensive to make. Junso apologizes, saying he will reimburse Sailoi. Then Sailoi asks them to give $420 for his costume, where actually it is around $335. Junso accepts his demand. Junso then asks Iseo to pay on behalf of him as he will pay her later. Sailoi receives the money and then thanks them for picking his fillers. Iseo then tells Sailoi handing out fillers is very outdated. Listening to her, Sailoi asks, what should he do then? She thinks Sailoi minded her. but he genuinely asks for advice about how people advertise these days. She answers that getting ad sponsors on social media or writing blogs would be much more efficient. He then asks about how to do it. She gets shocked seeing him so clueless and so curious. She says he can just search it up on the internet, though his shop still would need to have a decent starting reputation. Hearing all that, he smiles and tells as he leaves that he will keep those words in mind. Lastly, he thanks them. Seeing that Gunso advice, Saloy should stay a little longer as the doctor suggested. Saloy then tells him he has lots of things to do and he leaving his medical bill in their care. While Junso apologizes again, Saloy tells him if he is that sorry, then come to his restaurant once. After Saloy leaves, Gunso says that Saloy really is a straightforward guy, and he thought his life was over, but Iseo rather insults him, saying him stupid and lug. Because if it were her, she would have acted more and demanded much more as compensation. Then Gunso suddenly gets a message from his friend asking why he is so late. Seeing that, he asks Iseo if she still wants to go to the club. She says she will. It was the first time she heard those words in her life, especially from a full-grown adult with eyes looking straight at her. Then she looks at the leaflet and thinks if he is the owner. She then tears the leaflet and decides she will destroy his precious shop. Seeing that Junso thinks of her as crazy as ever. It was the first memory of her life. It was the time when her parents were deciding whom they will take after divorce. Iseo's mother chooses her over Yerel. She wanted to know the reason of that. Her mother replies that she chooses her because she is smart and beautiful. When she brought a poor mark on her test, her mother became so happy. Seeing that, if you ask if that makes her mother happy, her mother answers affirmatively. And then Iseo started to bring good result one after another. Her mother tells her that she's so happy having her as a daughter. But she doesn't look very happy. Later, she becomes very obsessed with whining. In a race, even after trying her when she fails to get, she pushes girl ahead of her. At this, that girl starts to bleed. But even seeing this, Iseo doesn't stop, rather continues her race and wins the match. Teacher tells her mother that she is too much obsessed with whining, even though it's nothing serious. If this goes on, later she might develop sociopathic tendencies. And then she recommends her to consult a doctor. Even after hearing all that, Iseo's mom doesn't scold her, rather tells she is such a good athlete. She was losing, thus she pushed her and wins. Even Iseo knows that this isn't right. She also knows that her mom wants her to do everything what she couldn't in her life. Hearing all that, Iseo's mom praise her for being so bright. Iseo wasn't expecting this kind of reaction. Iseo's mother tells if she wants her to scold her for her behavior. Iseo says that's what normally moms do. Iseo's mom tells that is also she grew, and she is not happy as she is now. Thus, she doesn't want to scold her for things like that. Rather, she wants her to outshine her and become successful. She then advises Iseo that standard that determines right and wrong or good and evil isn't absolute. They can always change. In the end, everyone must live for themselves. And there is no clear definition what makes a person good and bad. But when it comes to recognize exceptional people, everyone's on the same page. Because number doesn't lie. She also tells that Iseo may be smart and beautiful, but she also wants her to know there are many people out there who are exceptional. Today she won this which was meant for someone else. Lastly, she says that life is hard not to make more complicated with things like ethics and morals. Even though she knows her mother is crazy, but she is smart enough to know what her mother meant by all this. Thus, in her life, she wants to be in center of it. This world isn't fair, and it will stay that way. Right and wrong doesn't mean anything. The key to accept unfairness of life is to find what you can take advantage of and compensate for your defects. This is how she lives her life. As she thinks first on should understand rules and then understand oneself, that's the key. Even there are things like effort, but effort alone can't take you to the top. As it's not like a single man competition, it's a vicious cycle. Yes, she wants to be the best. Above all, she wants to see the end of the world. Geunso's friend asks if he and Iseo dating. He says no, as they are just friends. Then when his friends tells that he will try make a move on Iseo, Geunso starts to feel uncomfortable. He stops his friends. And he says that even though there is nothing going on between them, he likes her. That's when he realized he really has feelings for her.